Quick question to kick things off this week. Which camp does your teen fit in? Are they in the leave it to the last minute, I work so much better under pressure camp? Or are they in the, okay, I need to get it done as soon as I get it kind of camp? And I'm raising my hand for the second camp. Now, although I quite like doing more practical things under pressure sometimes, for example, I used to love the buzz of cafe work when it got really busy and we'd be really under the pump to get everything done. But generally, having a long to-do list just kind of stresses me out. And although there are examples of some people out there coming up with their best work under pressure, I personally prefer to feel in control and try to reduce my stress levels as much as possible. But, and yes, there's a but, but there are some situations where I've actually ended up making a specific and conscious decision to leave something to the last minute because experience has told me that it actually works better that way and actually saves me time and effort. And there are certain types of tasks and situations where this could be the case for your teen as well. So the first situation for me is anything where I have to present, for example, an in-school workshop or in an online webinar. In other words, anything where I'll be able to perform better and more naturally if the information and content is fresh in my head. If I've just finished the PowerPoint or just written the content or the schedule or whatever the topic is I want to discuss, then it's going to be top of mind for me, and therefore I'll be a lot more confident in presenting it and have everything on the tip of my tongue. Now, the topic or concepts will already be rolling around in my head, so examples or analogies will be easy to just pull out of the bag as I'm asked questions or when I need to expand on something. And this means that I'm not just relying on that PowerPoint or my notes. So I'm less robotic. I can really get into the event a lot more, as well as make it a lot more engaging, of course, than for the parents or students I'm presenting to. I can really sort of focus on making the delivery really amazing rather than having to try and remember or think so much about what I'm saying. And this goes for these blog videos as well. I started off planning the topics I wanted to talk about much further in advance than I do today. But what it meant was that I had to read back over my notes or remind myself of what it was I was going to talk about before I sort of started the camera rolling. And what I've actually found over time is that if I leave it till the day or the hour or sometimes the day before I want to film to plan out what I want to talk about, then it's fresh in my head and I don't end up spending additional time recapping over notes or going back over my ideas and thoughts. So I actually, again, save time and can do a better job of the delivery. So what about for your teen? If there is a task where they have to present or they have to act out or deliver a speech, then as long as they're still giving themselves time for editing and improvements and proofreading, then it might actually be better for them to construct the PowerPoint or write their final script nearer to the performance or presentation date. Now, the other situation is when there's more information that will become available before a deadline. For example, when I used to plan and prepare for parent-teacher interviews, I'd compile data and gather notes and make all these little notes on students well in advance because basically I'm Mrs. Organized. But then what would happen is maybe a couple of parents would end up cancelling, which meant essentially I'd wasted time and effort on preparing for that particular student. And also things might come up or change in terms of how a student's going in the week or the days leading up to those interviews. So I'd end up having to change my notes or data anyway. So again, doubling up on my time and effort. Now your teen might find themselves in this sort of new information becomes available and so changes what I do or don't need to do situation when, for example, their teacher's going to continue to drip information or ideas or tips or content for an assessment that they've got or an assignment. I've seen this in a couple of my personal coaching students actually, where they've done what seems like the right thing and gotten started on a report or an assignment or a project early, only to get some additional or new information in the next lessons that means they need to go back and change or take out something or add something in. Again, meaning wasted time and effort for them. Or perhaps even just resulting in a difficult choice of whether to continue with what they've got or make a bit of a pivot in order to actually get the grade or the result that they want. So rather than default to whatever camp your teen normally sits in, Have them start to make a conscious and calculated decision about their homework and their assignment tasks, and think about when's it going to be beneficial to get ahead and when might it actually make more sense to leave it a little bit longer before they start working on things. So I'm Katie Price, grade transformation expert, and I've got a question for you. Scroll down, let me know in the comments. Has something like this ever happened for your teen? Are they normally organized and actually been better off leaving something? Which camp do they normally sit in? And how's that working for them? I'd love to hear your feedback, and for plenty more study tips for your teen, if you're not already watching this on the blog, head on over there. It's at www.gradetransformation.com.au/blog. And until next week, let's make this a fantastic week.